pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. So much, and with that, we'll call the meeting of the DDA to order. Roll call. Mr. Angel is excused. Ms. Arp was excused. Ms. Atchison.
Here.
Mr. Byer.
Here.
Ms. Endley.
Here.
Ms. Howland.
Here.
Ms. Powell, we have not heard from.
She just texted back. She can't.
Mr. Ringler is present. So we do have a quorum. We'll now entertain public comments. Those citizens wishing to speak on agenda or non-agenda items will be allowed a maximum of 4 minutes each to address their concerns. This is the only time during the meeting citizens will be allowed to address the DDA. Please state your name and address for the record if you would like. Would you like to speak? Seeing none, we'll work on to conflicts of interest and any ex parte communication. Hearing none, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Are there any additions?
Well, this was a request of Rose to add social district signs to the agenda, but do you and Laura concur social district signs be added?
Did as a committee, yeah.
How about naming downtown Pocket Park?
We can. I think it's worthy of a discussion, but I think Ms. Powell is the one that was really interested in that. So we may want to add it to the agenda, but I don't know as if we'll talk about it today. We just want to table it for the next.
Beer and Wine Festival, June. Well, I won't say a date then. Beer and Wine Festival. How about carriage rides? That would be kind of a budget item.
Okay.
And New Year's Eve.
Adding those multiple items to the agenda. Under new business, I'm assuming, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with those additions. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consent agenda would include the approval of the minutes from January 29th. To a motion to accept and file the financial report and balance sheet, along with the revenue and expenses report contained within the packet.
Second.
Thank you so much. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Unfinished business, we will move on to the motion to recommend to the city council the presented DDA authority budget, which is contained in our packet. We're going to discuss this, obviously.
Motion and support and then discussion.
No, let's talk about it first. If there's anything we want to change.
At the conclusion of the last meeting, there was a couple things that I had to work on. Winter holiday lights display was one of them. So now we just amended that this morning to 2,300 instead of 4,000. City will. I'll work on that. What else was I working on? The concerts, Dave and I met last Friday. $5,000 budgeted for concerts in the park. And what was the,
I think was
yep, so that was the movies. Perry was here last time. I like the movies, but I think for the money the DDA spent for 15 people to watch a show, in my opinion, you tell me if I'm wrong and you tell me what number to put there and that's fine. I did reach out to Mr. Phillips and got an email from a lady that represents the Cedar Springs. What are they called? Theater.
community theater.
And she loved the idea if the DDA, Charlene Hunter. And we had a follow-up conversation on over the phone, if we could sponsor 2 shows. A kids play in August and an adult musical in the fall. $300 each. They would greatly appreciate that to help with set design and costumes, you name it.
Back that up, per our discussion, that was one of the concerns, is that we were spending a lot of money on that for activity. I can't speak for Jody, but the last time I asked Jody, I don't think she was seeing anything from that. I can say that we don't see anything from it. I don't know as if any of the retailers see anything from it at all. Obviously, we all want to be supportive of the theater. It's a beautiful facility, but we talked, why not pivot that into something a little bit more community oriented rather than sending a check to a studio somewhere in California and support a local show with the community theater or the student theaters or whatever. So that was kind of the impetus with the city manager's inquiry. So
Wanted to do a movie. I think the ones that were more well attended was like the movie that had the race cars and then they had the cars parked on Main Street, but it was in conjunction with other things going on. So would be opposed to sponsoring some movies if they could wrap it in with other events like that.
More streamlined. Little kids would.
Yeah, Charlene recommended in the kids are looking for stuff to do in the afternoon. And it, obviously kids movies, not. I mean, we can make those suggestions to the Kent Theater or whoever makes that decision. Let them know we're willing to sponsor a couple movies if they can.
well, we can just flat out give them a set budget and say, we've got X amount of dollars if we can do a couple movies. And maybe it is more efficient to make it a little bigger event less often than weekly.
Give them like $1,000.
About $200 a movie last time, wasn't it? 250, something like that. Again, it's hard to say without Perry being here, but
It's on the movie. Yep. So if we did 2 of the productions through the Players at 300 each.
2 productions for them and say just budget it at 300. If they have extra, great. Do 1 kids and 1 comedy.
The budget at 600, you mean?
Right, if we're doing 2 $300 donations to a community theater, 2 $300 donations to movies, that's that's our $1,200. And that saves us a little bit that we can.
So lower that line item to 1,200 then instead of 4,000? Or is there anything else? So classics at the Kent, I mean, it would be Kent Theater, productions.
How
not-
many people we talk? I mean, how many entities are, you got this girl that's got 2 plays, right? You got somebody in charge of these movies. Is there anybody else in charge of anything that has to do with that theater? I mean, maybe we should find out who that is and give that person, let them.
Well, that's kind of how we got to the movies in the first place was, between.
Do we give that money?
Perry has been our liaison and then he works with the Kent Theater Board, so.
Do we trust him? He's not on the board anymore, but I personally, Perry, you figure out what you wanna do and it's okay with us, we trust you, go do it. Here's $1,200, we don't have to screw around with it. I don't mean that negatively.
Well, this would be bringing in some other community organizations too, that would use that facility, so.
I don't know, it's a suggestion, so that is.
Any other thoughts?
I don't know what other groups perform there or.
Well, I think that's a good start, and I think Personally, I think that money's staying in the community for those organizations if we're designating that.
Tell him that. I mean, he knows that.
I think those are a little better attended.
Um,
My brain.
I did get a cost on the parking lot at 74 North Second Street. The whole estimate is 1,000 plus contingency. So if the DDA puts in 20, the city will put in 61,000. Ouch. That'll be a nice addition to that area. 4 North Second Street, kind of behind Laura's building. There was a house there, CBDT bought it and the city tore it down.
Before that starts, I want to make sure that you loop Dave and I into knowing about that. I plan on doing some work behind my building at the same time too, so I would love to pave my spot, and I think you said you wanted to do something. I can't.
Well, depending on how that whole thing moves, yeah. For a little more natural area, which would cost us some parking spots. I'd like to put in a little playground and have a place for kids and may have a little more natural area rather than asphalt.
Is that gonna take up that entire lot?
22. No, behind on Second Street.
Well, it doesn't come where our drive is. That isn't part of it. So I'm gonna only pave my area that I own, and if Cronkite chooses to pave the rest of his.
Sure.
You're taking me under on that?
Well, it's just that,
They did well in the Super Bowl yesterday, huh?
yeah, I can't imagine.
Budget, we're missing the New Year's Eve event, a budget line item for that.
Yep. I think we moved money from banners or something to cover the request that came in.
Yeah, and we're asking for 5,000 for that.
Back it up a little bit, I'm sorry. We talked about the budget, the city paying 60,000, we paying 20. Whose bid was that? Did we get several bids or what?
That's an estimate from our engineers. It hasn't been bid out yet. We needed a budget number to put in. the
Right,
budget.
right, okay. Sorry.
So New Year's Eve, what would? 5,000.
$5,000 from us or 5,000 total budget?
But the budget's gonna be way more than 5,000 this year.
So we will be using a good chunk of fund balance for all these items. 4, but this will leave us with 9,500 in fund balance, not including current year budget.
These outside activities though, we may wanna ask for budgets from these as well. I would say the same for the bike race, what that's supporting.
We actually talked about that at the chamber event, or at the chamber budget meeting, like what some of the other businesses in town seen from the bike event, and it was pretty unanimous that nobody really seen anything. Yeah, they said most of the bike guys come in town and they stop for a beer and they keep going. They don't shop, I don't know,
Well,
Kelly, if
we've
you've seen
been-
anything.
Yeah, I would say on that, that's been one of the things. First, the organizer just moved to town, so he's now living here.
Oh, cool.
But I think that's been part of their challenge, is trying to get, I know we've been trying for 4 years to get the restaurants to do the taste and participate in that. Because most of the people that are coming to that event are not from Cedar Springs, and that's part of the challenge is to let them know what else is here.
Yeah, that's just whatever. Sean said that only thing he's seen was a guy changed in front of his store. We were kind of just talking about some of the things in town that kind of brought, in some of the shop owners' opinion, a lot of, revenue to the stores. The New Year's Eve event brought huge revenue, to a lot of people. Sally, I know you said you did really well, almost.
As if it was red flannel.
Nice.
Focus on more events that bring stuff like that.
Yeah, the ice cream shop, I know for sure on the bike race, the ice cream shop has done well, the bakery's done well. Obviously, we've done well, and I think Jody's picked up from that. But in terms of the rest of the retail, I can't say for that. I know, but they haven't been able to participate in the event on site,
Where if
so.
we could maybe piggyback with the Beer and Wine Festival, that would be cool.
That may help. And this year, it's gonna be going down Main Street too, as opposed to around, which has been the previous. Route.
Well, I think, I mean, at this point, it can always be amended, a good start, and we'll,
So so the only changes from this then is amending the classics would be to 12,000. 1,200, excuse me. And then adding a line for New Year's Eve.
winter holiday lights goes from 4,000 down to 2,300.
I mean, I can always buy more lights, if y'all want.
And are we approving this now?
It,
The budget as,
I'll make a motion that we approve the budget as amended.
Second.
this is budgetary, we'll do a roll call. Ms. Atchison,
Yes.
Mr. Byer,
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Howland,
Yes.
Mr. Ringler votes yes. New business then, strategic planning from 2022.
so I found the minutes and the report, Patrick Waterman, facilitation of this meeting. I've never met this gentleman, so I don't know who he is, but just thought maybe we should refresh our memories on the prioritization of DDA funds. I don't think we need to do anything with it, but maybe some new people on the board would like to look through this and.
And 16 of your packet. Real quick, as a summary, the top 5 priorities when money is not an issue was improvement and renovation to the existing buildings, commercial business and building development and redevelopment, business and downtown development and marketing, creation of new off-street parking lots, establish downtown recreation and annual signature events, acquisition and construction of buildings, structures, and property, improvements to White Pine Trail, and alleyway improvements. Top priorities when money and resources are an issue: establish downtown recreation and annual signature events, improvement to and renovation of existing buildings, creation of new off-street parking lots, business and downtown development and marketing, commercial business and building redevelopment, development and redevelopment, and development of cohesive, standardized, citywide signage standard.
Just in the last couple years, I think you guys done a good job with the signs. We've created many and replaced many. Better, yeah.
I think that is a good reminder to look at what we discussed. I'm looking at the last topic.
Social district signs. So my Public Works Department secured some bids, sent it to Dave and Laura and Rose, the sign committee. And we are proposing to order 10 of each to be placed throughout the social district area. Signs entering, exiting. They're 18 inches by 12 inches.
You go on existing poles.
I thought the smaller, pole. Rockford's kind of lower to the ground, like maybe this height. Instead of
Yeah, some of those have their own
stand.
stand. Yeah, well, they have their own pole, but some of them are set on existing, light poles or structures. Obviously, if we don't have to add more poles is a good thing.
Existing poles, we can.
Is the, are brackets and stuff included with that? I assume there's no poles included with the bid that we're doing. Yeah.
If we put them on our poles, there's no,
That would cover the installation cost.
I think so this could be done yet this year. You have $800 left in the sign budget current fiscal year. We could get these ordered and get them up before July 1.
I say we get them ordered.
Please.
I would entertain a motion to approve the purchase of social district signs.
Second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Is there oh, to add to that, those signs, do they come just square? Do they have holes in them? Excuse me, but
We drill the holes in where we need them, if they're,
sometimes people drill those holes and they don't get finished and they just immediately rust. I don't know what those are made out of, but I'm assuming they're tin or steel or something. Not
Yep.
plastic.
they're not plastic.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. So that's why I'm asking. It'll look bad in a hurry if holes aren't painted or. Thought maybe you could order them with the holes in them, but I don't know how you're gonna how we're gonna bracket them, so I don't know.
It's the same, Dornbos is like who we order signs from, not like, so the wayfaring signs that we put up recently, that's what it is. Aluminum, maybe, I don't know what it is.
It's fine.
What else did we add?
Naming of the downtown pocket park.
Powell can be present. So that'll just come back next month.
Oh, fall apart. Get over with.
Beer and Wine Festival.
So the chamber is proposing that we do a beer and wine festival, in June, but Dave suggested maybe we piggyback off of the bike event that he has in town, so,
Either way is fine, but yeah, we'll wanna get the licensing and the distribution side organized for sure.
or like straight away. So I guess maybe Perry and I will get with you.
The Cedar Blitz bike race or another bike race?
Cedar Blitz is what I would.
13th.
Correct.
Oh, you said June 15th.
Yeah, but he's.
She was, and I just
Oh.
said, do you wanna just piggyback on
Yeah,
that?
sure.
But it's fine to do them as two
Yeah,
different
I mean,
events. I mean, that also might spread people out, so. Either way is fine.
Into town, like we were talking about some of the things in other towns that I attend a lot. Wing City shuts their streets down every Friday night, all summer long, and they have music on every corner, and it brings hundreds and hundreds of people in town. It's crazy train.
I think we got a nice start with that, with what Scott does in the social district. I mean, if the Pocket Park has, once that's completed, we might have music there too,
Yeah, I think
Way to get
it's,
people to stroll around on the weekends in the summer.
So what would you need the DDA just to help?
We were starting to put a budget together for that, so we were proposing doing almost the same thing that we did for New Year's Eve, putting out the fire pits, having, some other things, so we were asking for a $5,000 contribution if we can get that put together as well. But we're really in the preliminary stages of planning that, so.
Can you come back next month? Cause if it's June 15th, that's current fiscal year. Room. If it's July 13th, that's new fiscal year.
Okay, I'll get with Perry and then send an email to everybody. Does that work?
That would be a. Yes, you'd be asking for us. It's not a committee of ours, so we don't have to do notices.
March 25th be enough time to
That's all.
meeting.
Okay, do we have anything else that we added on?
The carriage rides.
Carriage rides.
Wondering if the DDA would like to partner with the chamber on that. It's kind of an in-kind thing that the chamber does for the community. It doesn't bring a ton of revenue into town because the people just take short little carriage ride through town and then but it's very well attended, but we also are recognizing that it's, it's just kind of an in-kind thing that we do for people for the holidays,
What's the cost? Do you?
So it's $1,800 and we're gonna shorten it down to 2 weeks instead of 3 weeks this year. And that is 2 carriages for 2 weeks.
Total cost of that is 1,800, or you're
Yeah.
asking us for 1,800?
Asking for half. 900. Kind of like the lights, people like it. Spots.
I think it's a nice event.
Mhm.
Do you get people wandering by for that? I mean, that's Christmas shopping season
Certain
anyway,
amount.
right?
A certain amount of it. I think because when it starts. Yeah, and.
We're always doing the hot cocoa for it,
Yeah.
but
Mhm. Can't say that I'm seeing a ton of traffic from it. I wished I could.
But everybody else said too that they weren't getting a huge amount of traffic from it, but it's just kind of something that our city just does as like, hey, thank you for the holidays. And as a chamber, we're trying to focus more on things that bring commerce to the town. But don't wanna eliminate stuff that people really enjoy either, cause it's busy.
Yeah, it does.
We like the fact that we can still give it for free, where a lot of our neighboring towns, they charge $30 a person.
well, it's pretty amazing that that the chamber is able to find a vendor to do it that reasonably, though.
It's so reasonable. Yeah, it hasn't went up.
Well, that would be, we'd have to amend the budget we just approved if we're gonna add that in.
To the, with a separate motion, I can add it to the proposed 24-25 budget.
Is there more cookies in the jar, or are we have to take something from something?
I think it's at theater, right?
Well, part of that,
We already amended that from 4,000 down to 1,200, which left 9,500 available after taking 44,000 from fund balance.
and the holiday light display was amended down too, but then we added the New Year's.
Daylights and 2,800 from the concerts at the Kent, or classics at the Kent. And then took 5,000 for New Year's Eve.
That remaining 10,000 fund balance is what we're doing. $900?
Barry did, or Bernie
Alright.
did. Yep,
Second.
second.
Motion that we had $900 to pay for.
I'll second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Um,
Any opposed, same sign. Else on the added the agenda?
So I wrote down New Year's Eve, but we kind of covered that with the budget. So that's not a separate. That was it.
We have correspondence is the 24 calendar, which I think is ongoing in the packet. Everybody should have that by now. Otherwise, we have city manager, DDA director's report.
I just wanted to mention, last week I met with the engineers that designed the pocket park at 17 North Main Street. And the conceptual drawing was just pieces, you know, put on a map kind of thing. We really narrowed down. We told them the restroom facility, like the outside of it needs to be the brick color of like the fire station and the library. That's kind of our, if we're gonna build structures in city parks, we don't want just a wood paneling, whatever. So they went and looked at the fire station, the library, so it'll be like a tan brick. Sail on top is gonna be a tan with the lights, and then they're gonna try to match some of the red in the concrete. Sidewalks, the red brick pavers that we have in the sidewalks, to kind of pull it together. This morning, staff and I reviewed some trees and shrubs and ground cover kind of stuff. They're looking for suggestions on that, but, by the end of the month, they will have the plan all wrapped up. It'll go out to bid. Bids are due end of March, so city council can approve the bid, you know, the low bid or whatever, the appropriate bid to council, and then what the project has to start on or around May 1st. Once they start, they have 120 days to finish.
Be a new conceptual drawing to earn a new rendering. Okay.
But until we answer all the questions, and
Stuff
Yeah.
to do if you have it.
so that's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to that.
Anything else? We'll move on to trustee comments. Mr. Byer, do you have words of wisdom to impart upon us?
Oh, this time. I don't know why, but I don't. Glad to be here, so.
I took the over the entire time too.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'd have taken it.
Sally?
Thank you, everybody, for showing up. I'm good.
no.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
Hello. It's nice to be a part of, planning for the city. I'm gonna be a little quiet for the first few meetings, just learning everything that's going on, so, don't think I'm gonna be quiet all the time. No, I'm just kidding. And that's it. It's great to work with you guys.
Appreciate you being here. I'm glad we can move a few of these projects downtown in partnership with the chamber. I think that's good to have people working together, so. Thank you all, and with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Beautiful.
Just adjourn. Good job. I was gonna say,
I wasn't gonna.
Make any motion, but yeah.
Almost.
Thanks all.
Almost.
Not